Me again, D. McClung, Archer Monologues. I was cruising through the news and reading some emails, checking up on some things, and I ran across this piece by Judge Judge Napolitano. Judge Napolitano? All right. Want to get his name right. And he's talking about the burning of the United States flag and free speech and First Amendment and so forth. And I must say this up front. He is right on point in regards to the freedoms or the right to express oneself, like by burning the flag, for example. Now, I haven't. Just be patient with me. We'll get to it. He made a mistake by using the word American when referring to the flag. Now, I agree that, and he's right on when he says that I can do whatever I want with my property, which is, I own it. It's mine. It belongs to me. And as we know, or should know, people do occasionally own, as private property, symbols of things that they do not own as private property. For example, we'll just use the case in point. If I have a piece of material that I bought from someone who has it, let's say I go to Walmart and I buy a piece of material that resembles the flag, the United States flag. It's a replica. It's just a piece of material that has a symbol colored on it. Stars and stripes, red, white, and blue. And it looks just like the one that flies over the Capitol building in Washington, and so forth. So I fork over my money for this material, this flag, this symbol, and I take it home and it's mine, and I bought it, paid for it, belongs to me. It's my property. It's just as much my property as, say, the chair I'm sitting in right now, or the computer that I'm working on and recording this show on. It belongs to me. It's mine. My property. It's private property because it's not like a corporation. It's not like you don't own it. I'm sorry, you don't. It's mine. It doesn't belong to the government because I bought it. It's mine. You could say that I decided to make my own flag of the United States government flag, and I wanted to just make it myself because I'm creative and I'm skilled and I have the ability to do that. Would I do that? Probably not. It's easier to buy one for a few bucks or whatever. Just have it. I don't need to spend my time making one. Someone else did that. Someone else's job to manufacture this flag-like thing and sell it to people. Okay, so I bought this piece of material that has the symbol of America printed on it. Bring it home, it's mine, I own it. I can do with it as I please. I can leave it in the box that it came in. I could put it on the coffee table. I can staple it up to my wall in my living room. I could take it out in the backyard and stick it on a telephone pole or whatever. I can wrap it around my shoulders and use it as a shawl. or a cape, it's my property. This is not a hard concept to comprehend. So if you don't comprehend it, then, I'm sorry, your brain isn't functioning very well. It annoys me that people keep debating things that have already been resolved. It annoys me that people continue to debate. Well, for one thing, they don't understand the concept of debate. The debate is, you give your side of the story and someone else gives their side of the story, and then at the end of that debate, when all the facts have been presented, facts, not necessarily opinions, but facts, then you come to a conclusion. And that conclusion is either, one side or the other. Or you take a combination of both sides, maybe both sides are actually speaking facts, and you combine those facts to one conclusion, and the result is the debate is over, and you've resolved the issue. And that's it. You're done. There's nothing else to say. We've already figured out what the truth is. The truth is, the American flag doesn't exist. There is no such thing. It just doesn't exist. And I dare say you've never seen one, because there ain't one. So Judge Napolitano is, why didn't he just change his name to something easier to say? Sounds good when you can say it correctly. So he's making the statement about the flag burning, and Donald Trump, of course, saying some stupid shit about putting people in jail and taking away their citizenship for burning the flag, which, by the way, is the United States government's flag. It's not a flag representing America. It's a flag representing the government of America. It's always been that. It's not new. It's been that way since the 1700s. And that's not going to change no matter what your opinion is, no matter what you think of it. But the point is here, I was talking about, is if I buy it, it's mine. Now, if your property is on your property and you bought it, it belongs to you, and you have a flag, replica of a flag, the United States government flag, and you want to put it out in your front yard on a flagpole, that's your business. It's your property. You can do what you want. On the other hand, if you want to burn it, which, by the way, is the proper way to dispose of a soiled United States flag, which doesn't necessarily mean you are bound to burn it if it's dirty. Like, if it falls into the mud and gets dirty or whatever. Or gets worn, torn, and tattered in the weather. Probably because you left it out in the wrong kind of weather, like all night or in a storm or tornado or whatever. That's your responsibility. That's your fault. But if you have a flag, you bought it, you pay for it, it's your material, it's your property, and you burn it if you want to. And if you burn it because of legitimate reasons, like, it says in the instructions here, an instruction manual, it says the proper way to dispose of a United States government flag is to, burn it. That's not my opinion. That's just what it is. It's what it says. It's what it means. You can't. So burning it, in some cases, is not objectionable to people. But if I burn it in a protest, exercising a free speech thing, right, and the Supreme Court agrees with me on this, you have the right to, suggest that I lose my citizenship or that I should be put in jail or deported or whatever. And Donald Trump is wrong about that. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't heard his actual words about that. I've read stuff on the internet and read what he supposedly said and so forth. I've even read his tweets, which at some point I imagine he will stop doing that, because presidents just don't have time for tweeting things. Just childish, actually. Even if you're not a president. But And okay, whatever. So anyway, Donald, I'm talking about Judge here and what he said, and I agree with him that it's free speech. The Constitution, it's been the Supreme Court has ruled that it's your property and you can do whatever you want, and it is also ruled that freedom of speech is implied here and relevant to that situation. So I want to express my disdain for the United States government, then I might want to burn the flag in public and draw attention to that fact that I have absolute, utter contempt for the government. I'm quick to add, has nothing to do with America, the country, or American people, because it's not a symbol of the American people, and it's not a symbol of the country called America. I want to point this out. This is not debatable. That's what it is. Pretty much like the sky is up. A fact. 2 and 2 is 4. Another fact. It's not an opinion. It's fact. If you don't agree with that, then you're like fucking retarded. And I mean that in a clinical sense. I don't mean that as a slur or, like calling you a bad name. I'm actually diagnosing you by the evidence that you present. By disagreeing with a fact, I'm going to have to just conclude that, logically, clinically speaking, so to speak, that you are fucking retarded. Because if you're not retarded, then you wouldn't know better. I would think. People with a functioning brain don't think illogical things. And they don't make stupid mistakes like calling a government flag a country flag or the people flag, because it's not what it is. Never has been. And please don't tell me it's just my opinion, because it's not my opinion. I'm telling you something that's true. It is true. The facts prove it's true. So what I'm suggesting here is that I'm just going to call him Judge, made a mistake when he was talking about the Constitution, the Supreme Court ruling that it's unconstitutional to ban it or make it a crime. And so I would think that probably it's one of the few cases where the Supreme Court actually made the right decision and presented the right ruling. It is a correct ruling because it is true. And my property is my property. So you don't like me burning my own property, then, tough shit. It's not yours. You don't have anything to say about it. Now, you might have an opinion. Your emotions might be ticked a little bit. Then, like, oh, you're burning my flag. It's not your flag. It's my flag. It belongs to me. Now, I'll put this in there, like a little disclaimer. Like, if you go to the Capitol of West Virginia, for example, in the Capitol building, and there's a flag hanging, up on top of a flagpole in front of the Capitol building in Washington, or White House, or Congress, a government facility, in other words, that property is the property of the government, and therefore, you can go on and say it, well, because the government is of the people, all that nonsense, then, yeah, public property. So anyway, it belongs to the government in that sense, and so therefore, you can't just take that flag down off of that flagpole, because that would be stealing things that are not yours. Not your flag, not your piece of material. It's not your symbol. It belongs the flagpole in front of the Capitol building. It belongs to the government. I know. The people are supposed to be the government owned. We're supposed to be the government, and we own the government, and whatever. Blah, 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 blah. That's kind of a delusion these days, but okay. So the point I'm making here is, it's mine. I can do whatever I want. If it doesn't belong to me, and I take it off of the flagpole in front of the Capitol building, I'm stealing. That's a crime. Stealing is a crime. Duh. And if I take that material off of the pole and I take it down and I'm going to walk on it and stamp on it and burn it and shit, that's you could call that defacing public property. You could call that, and it is, stealing. You stole property that didn't belong to you, and you destroyed it. And that's a crime. But if you own it, it's yours. It's not a crime to burn it or tear it up into shreds or tie it in a knot or use it as a diaper, as that guy that makes porn magazines did when he was tried for violating something other, someone's sensitivities, and not sensibilities because they're not sensible. But judge made a mistake in his article and in his speech. He said that the American flag. Now, I've sent a note to him via Facebook, his Facebook page, and I pointed out to him that he was wrong about that. He should have known better, because, and I agree with Judge most of the time. I mean, I agree with the concepts and principles that he talks about, and he supports certain things, and it's true. I agree with it. I'd be a fool not to, because he said things that are true, and he said things that are correct. He said things that are really true, real. Okay, but sometimes he makes a mistake, and this is one of them, and it's a minor mistake in some sense, because he just wasn't thinking. Unless he actually believes it, in which case he believes a lie, and he's perpetuating that lie by calling it an American flag when it's not. Now, I don't mean to insult people by suggesting that the flag is a rag. It's a piece of material, yes, but I don't mean to insult you if you think, oh, I love my country. Well, if you love your country, that's fine. If you love your government, then you're an idiot. And that's also a clinical evaluation. In other words, stupid. Just plain fucking stupid. Because the government is not your friend. Anyway, he called it the American flag, and it is not the American flag, because, and it's never been the American flag, because it never started out to be that, and it never was that, and it never designated as that. Because that would be basically just an impossibility in the first place, because countries, as a rule, don't have flags. I suppose you can make exceptions to that rule and say that, like North Korea has a flag, and it represents the government of North Korea, and it also represents the country, because the government owns the country, as opposed to America, where the people own it. But I won't get into that. In America, the flag was created, made, invented, designed, manufactured, and put up on a flagpole in front of government facilities as a symbol of the government. Now, here's the important thing. The American flag, like I said, it doesn't exist. Why would I need a flag? Why would a country need a flag? What's the point? The fact of the matter is, it's the United States government flag. It symbolizes the Union of, in this case, and I know it's an idea that's kind of faded from memory and from consciousness in modern day America, but there's a union of 50 nation states. And states have flags. West Virginia has a flag. Colorado has a flag, and so on. The government of West Virginia has a flag. West Virginians don't have a flag called, it's the state of West Virginia, the nation state of West Virginia flag. It's nation state. These states are nation states. I know they don't think of it that way anymore because they're idiots and they wanted to change things around and make it what it wasn't. And they know, that's an improvement, and no, it's not. But anyway, the flag of the United States government, and that's what it represents, and it is what is a symbol of it, and it's what it means. And that's what it is. It's always been that. So burning the United States flag, if it's your property, it's not really the property of the United States government. or your next door neighbor or the state of West Virginia or anything like that. It's just your property, piece of flag. It's yours. So if you want to burn it, that's your business. Now, people might be offended. They might, their sensitivities might be jerked around a little bit, and they might be a little upset. And they might, because they don't understand the concept of freedom, and they don't understand the concept that it's not their flag, it's the government flag. And, they're just wrong. They're mistaken. They are misguided. They have been brainwashed with stupid shit. One of the stupid things that have been put into people's head in America is that the government is of the people and other things. All right, so I'm just saying, if you're going to talk about a flag that is a symbol of the United States government, the Union of 50 states, which is in itself an entity. A union is an entity separate from the parts of it. It is not descriptive of the individual parts of that union. Like the Coal Miners Union in West Virginia, the United Mine Workers, it's a union that is an entity in itself, a corporation, actually. And it has nothing to do with individual miners, coal miners. And so the union might have a flag, but it's the union flag, not the coal miners' flag. Now let's put it this way. If you're a coal miner and you don't belong to a union, then the union flag is not your flag. It's the union flag, and perhaps the members of the union could say, hey, that's the flag representing us, the United Coal Miners of America, or West Virginia. It's not their flag. It is a symbol of the union or a corporation called the Coal Miners Union, United Mine Workers of America Union. A fictitious entity, a corporation. So, which has a charter and all that stuff. So, what I'm saying is, when you're going to talk about a flag that belongs to and it symbolizes the United States government, that's what it is. And if you steal their property, the government's property, which is stealing from ourselves, because we're supposed to be the government, which we're not, but we should be, then that's thievery. And if you desecrate it by stomping on it or burning it and destroying it and causing damage to it, you are in effect breaking the law that says, you're not allowed to do that to other people's property or even the government's property, because it's not yours to do that to. So anyway, the point here is this. It's not the American flag. It's never been the American flag. It doesn't represent the American government, a country. It represents a country, a government, a union of 50 parts. And it's not above the law, by the way, regardless of what the government thinks. It's not God. So, Judge Napolitano should have actually not used that word American flag. He should have used the phrase United States government flag. And people use the words interchangeably. Like they talk about America and they talk about the United States, America, United States, America, United States, and they got these two words mixed up, and now they use them interchangeably, and that doesn't change the meaning of the word just because you use it incorrectly. Just because you use one word and think it means something else doesn't make it mean something else. It still means what it means. Words mean what they mean. I can't emphasize this strongly enough. If you say a word and you think it means something and it doesn't mean that, then you are not speaking correctly and you are saying something that is simply not true. It's a common mistake in America to do that because Americans are a little bit dim-witted and a little slow when it comes to figuring things out, like English. So, I regret that Judge actually used the wrong word there because he's spreading the lie. He is reinforcing the misconception. And I consider that wrong. Do I consider it a crime? Not necessarily. When the government doesn't, yeah, it's a crime. It's an act of treason. You know what I'm saying. We should know what I'm saying. So the whole point I'm trying to make is it's the United States government flag. It's always been the United States government flag. It represents the Union, a separate entity than the country, and a separate entity than the individual states. If it was the United States, if it was American flag, it'd be like what? A piece of material with, like maybe a red background with a red star in the middle of it. One star. There's 50 stars, therefore it represents 50 states that are united into one government entity. Under one government entity. It doesn't have anything to do with America. It doesn't have anything to do with 50 states, which are nation states, technically, legally speaking. So, I just wanted to bring this out. I just wanted to point this out to you. I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it seriously. Because don't reinforce this lie. Don't reinforce this misconception. Because words mean what they mean. And if you think, I can use the word because people know what I mean, but they don't. They are possibly, just as wrong about it as you are. Why reinforce a lie? Why reinforce something that's simply not true? It's not the case, and you might think, it doesn't matter, I'm just talking. Well, if you're saying something that's not true, then you're lying. And if you don't know it's a lie, then you're a fool. You should know. Something as common and ordinary and everyday as that, a flag is a flag. So all these rednecks who get all upset about this burning the flag thing, they're just idiots, fools, because they believe the bullshit that they've been taught, probably since the day they were born, by people that are just as disgusting and stupid as they are. Mindbenders. The socialist neocon collective agenda. Brainwashed, duped, manipulated, conditioned. Just like the words law enforcement, which doesn't mean, a police force or a policeman in America. That you don't call American policemen and police departments law enforcement. Not in a free country, because that's not what law enforcement means. It means Gestapo or Stasi or, shall we say, the king's hired assassins. So don't use law enforcement. And most people have been conditioned now that they think that means something that it doesn't. It means, the bullies and thugs working for the king, or the dictatorship, or the Taliban, or the Nazis. In the case of Germany in the 1930s and early 40s. So I think I've explained this directly, adequately, sufficiently, that you should understand what I'm saying and accept that as true. Wait a minute. Did I just say you should just trust me and take my word for it? No. Not saying that. Well, I am, kind of. But you should accept it as possibly true because the evidence supports my statement and supports what I said and my conclusion. If you know the evidence, you can consider the evidence and put it to my statement and conclude yourself that what I said is true. You can study history, you can study words, you can study the situation and the circumstances and the elements of that situation or that issue, and you will come to the same conclusion, theoretically, because that's the only conclusion you can come to and still be an intelligent person. If you don't come to the conclusion I came to, then you're just not thinking. Basically you're ignorant, you don't know the facts, you don't know the circumstances, you don't know the reality, you don't know the truth, you don't know the law, etc. You don't understand the concepts that go with all of that. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, but you're just not gonna. It doesn't cut it, friend. You should smarten up and learn some shit, and stop saying things that are not true and stupid and so forth. All right. So anyway, Judge should have known better than to use American flag. He should have said the United States flag, because that's what it is. It's always been that, always will be that, because that's what it is. That's what it is. The sky is up. You don't believe me? Do some research. And stop listening to your redneck neighbors and other idiots on the internet that say stupid shit. And politicians particularly, because they're liars. They've always been liars. They always will be liars, because I guess that's just the nature of a politician. I'm looking for statesmen, meaning, good politicians. Politicians, the word has gotten a bad connotation and a bad rap because of justifications and reasons for that. They've earned a bad reputation for being freaking liars, among other things. So I'd like to see a statesman. I'd like to see a statesman be president. And Donald Trump is not a statesman. Trust me. You don't have to take my word for it. You should know that anyway. I shouldn't have to tell you. So he wants to put people in jail and rob their citizenship. Well, in the first place, he can't, because that's against the law. The Constitution and so on. So I think I've made my point. I think it's clear. I think you can think about this now, and you can agree with me or disagree with me. But if you agree with me, then hey, cool. Why don't you just post a comment in the comment section below this show, and on the page where this is presented, like whether it's YouTube or on my radio channel podcast page or whatever, or Facebook or wherever you might see it. Make a comment. Sure, go for it. Just when you make a comment, say, I agree. I'm not telling you what to say, but you could say something like, I agree with you 100% because you are absolutely right. Or you could say, I don't agree with you because I'm an idiot and I want to believe something's not true. And if you say something insulting to me and about me, then on my own freaking page, then I'm liable to be nasty to you because, don't be an idiot. So what I'm saying to you here is, I said what I said, and there could be other things I could say at this point, and I can't think of anything else, because that's my point. I made it. I was clear. I spoke English. I didn't speak Babel, and I was correct, accurate, and factual. Because I understand what a concept of a union is. I understand what a corporation is. I understand what the government is. I understand these things because I'm learned. And you might say I'm, I like learned better than educated, but okay, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm educated. You got a college degree and you're not educated. You're miseducated and you're believing a lot of stupid shit. All right, not everybody, some people, most people actually have been brainwashed in America. I won't even give you a percentage, but it's more than 50%. All right, that's it for now. Let you go. Go about your business. Think about what I said. If you want to say something, go for it. Can't say it on the radio show because it's radio. That's where I talk and you listen. Like a monologue is me talking and you listening or not. It's up to you. And if you're hearing me right now, then apparently you're listening, right? Okay, so if you have an opinion, fine. You feel free to express it. Bear in mind, if you say something on my radio page or on my website, or send me some kind of hate mail or something, an email, hate mail. I get hate mail. I do get hate mail. If that's your thing, then go ahead. Then I'll know who you are and what you're about. I know, I will say, what an asshole you are to say things like that to me. I don't think you should be arrested. I think you should be slapped across the face a few times, because you're being an idiot and rude and disgusting and stupid. And here's your sign, as the man said, as the comedian said. All right, talk to you later. I got other things to talk about, and you'll be hearing them when I get around to saying them to you. All right? Enjoy. Have fun.